Santosh sir, Professor Rohit Srivastav is there. He was supposed to join.
Okay.
Oh, is that so? Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe you can even ask him to, do some introduction.
No, he is not yet joined.
No, he is not joined yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, I have not told anyone from IIT Bombay itself, except my immediate group of students, immediate group of researchers, maybe about 5-10 of them. But IIT itself is a big ocean, so I thought. So how did you promote this event apart from LinkedIn?
So basically we distributed it on WhatsApp. Also we sent on emails. We have a list of 4,000 participants from our previous PharmaTalk. So a week ahead of it, we circulated those invitations to everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's always a little bit worried when the number of people are more, because it gives us apprehensions whether we'll be able to do it properly or not. So a small crowd is good enough for us.
No, always, because always I feel that the amount of content they receive is always divided by number of participants. It's just one participant, you can imagine it is like full force.
100%.
1,000 people, it is 1 by 1,000. Not exactly proportional, maybe it is 1 by 100, let us say. So you have, this is the Hyderabad campus, what you're seeing on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
And sir, we start at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Last minute to go, sir.
Yeah. Yeah,
Everything is ready.
Live streaming on...
Dr. Santosh, everything is ready?
Yeah, everything is ready. We are live on YouTube.
Okay, great.
And good to go. No issue.
Hello.
Yes,
Santosh,
sir.
am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, Anil. Yes.
You can start, sir.
It's 6 o'clock, then we'll start. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Namaskar. Shubha Sayankaram. I am Dr. Anil Pete, Associate Dean, School of Pharmacy and Technology Management, SVKM, NMIMS, deemed to be University, Hyderabad campus. Together with our Director in charge of NMIMS Hyderabad campus, Dr. Ravi Kiran, and faculty SPTM and PharmaTalk team, I warmly welcome you all to the 8th PharmaTalk webinar. I also take this opportunity to welcome our university authorities, Dr. R.S. Gaud sir, Director NMIMS Shirpur campus and Director SVKM Pharma Institution, Dr. Bala Prabhakar ma'am, Dean SPP SPTM Mumbai, Dr. Meena ma'am, Registrar NMIMS University, Dr. Ashwini Deshpande, Associate Dean SPTM Shirpur. PharmaTalk is an online platform for all professionals, early career researchers and students to come together during this COVID lockdown period. Here we discuss the latest trend topic, not just restricted to pharmaceutical sciences, but also problems of general interest and utility. Support for our PharmaTalk webinars continue for the 8th consecutive week, and I take this opportunity to thank you all for displaying fantastic enthusiasm, which continuously inspire us to bring more and more diverse topics for the benefit of our participants. So let's use this opportunity to learn collectively and share our knowledge within the safe confines of our home during this lockdown period. We also urge everyone to be proactive and follow social distancing norms. Before we begin, as usual, few housekeeping announcements from my side. If due to power cuts or any reason, streaming pauses or goes irregular during the talk, please do not panic. We will post the entire webinar immediately after the event for your convenience. Participation certificate for today's webinar can be obtained upon completion of an online quiz The link for the online quiz will be sent to your registered email latest within 24 hours. The link for feedback will be active after the talk and will be posted in the chat boxes of Zoom and YouTube. Please spare 2 minutes of your time to provide your valuable feedback and help us to improve ourselves. And we are thankful to our speaker. Today he provided us the quiz for today's webinar. Before we go to begin the main event, I would like to bring you a snapshot of our new Hyderabad campus and its activities. As you all know, Sri Vile Parle Keloni Mandal SVKM, which is our trust, established in the year 1934. Under the umbrella of Sri Vile Parle Keloni Mandal, the Narsi Munje Institute of Management Studies was established in the year 1981. NMIMS got the Deemed University status in 2003 by the Government of India. Today, more than 70,000 students studying with NMIMS at 8 different campuses and 17 constituent schools. NMIMS is NAAC accredited university with 3.59 CGPA and Tier 1 university in the country. School of Pharmacy and Technology Management was established in the year 2006, and our first pharmacy school was started at Mumbai in 2006, Shirpur in 2007, and SPTM Hyderabad was started in the year 2019. The various courses offered at our Mumbai, Shirpur and Hyderabad campuses are DPharm, BPharm, MPharm, 5 years integrated program, that is BPharm plus MBA, MPharm, 3 years integrated program MPharm plus MBA, and PhD in Pharmaceutical Sciences. Most of our BPharm and MPharm programs are accredited by NBA. I'm very proud to announce that our SPP SPTM is ranked 13th in the country as per the latest NIRF ranking. At Hyderabad, we have 2 established campuses. One is at Tarnaka and another one is at Jedcherla. This Jedcherla is a 90 acres campus located at Polepalli SEZ. Here at Polepalli SEZ, we have School of Management, School of Pharmacy, School of Commerce, and School of Law. 2 more schools will start from this academic year, that is the School of Engineering and Technology and School of Science. The School of Business Management is the first B school in Hyderabad to get international AMBA accreditations. We are really thankful to our management for providing excellent infrastructure for our academic activities. You can see from the pictures. Though we are very new, last year only we started as a school, but you can see from the pictures about our industry connect. On every Saturday, one guest speaker is there from industry, one alumni is there from industry. It's not only academic, but apart from academics, you can see the pictures of our students enjoying the extracurricular and co-curricular activities at our Hyderabad campus. From 16th of March, we were online and conducting online classes, guest lecture, parent meet, and alumni connect. Today, one of our first batch student from Shirpur, Ms. Janu Shah, was with us under the double tail activity, that is the alumni connect. During this lockdown, we started with PharmaTalk activity, and today is the 8th PharmaTalk, and I am very happy to announce the speaker for today's PharmaTalk, Professor B. Ravi from IIT Mumbai. Professor B. Ravi is an Institute Chair Professor of Mechanical Engineering at IIT Bombay. He is He is well known for his work in metal casting through AutoCast, eFoundry, and Smart Foundry projects. In 2004, he set up BETIC, that is Biomedical Engineering and Technology Innovation Center, whose team members developed 50 patented medical devices, incubated 50 startup companies, licensed 5 products to industry, and owns several prestigious awards. In 2019, he took over as the head of the DS School of Entrepreneurship, which has trained over 1,600 students in entrepreneurship and lead to over 25 startups during the last 5 years. As a member of governing or advisory councils of several institutes and expert committees of various government agencies, Professor Ravi also contributes to project reviews, policies, and practices related to translational research, product innovation, and entrepreneurship. We are very much thankful to Professor Ravi for accepting our invitation. With this brief introduction, I hand over the session to our Professor B. Ravi for his opening remarks, followed by his talk titled Medical Devices Innovation, Stories and Best Practices. Over to you, Ravi, sir.
Very, very good evening, Professor Pete, Professor Puli, and all the team of Narsi Monji, all campuses. Also, very good evening to everyone who is connected, either through Zoom or maybe through YouTube. It's a great pleasure and privilege to address all of you. And hopefully we will have a nice evening sharing of some ideas and best practices, stories and best practices. Before I start, I really want to do a big salute to everyone out there, soldiers on the border, doctors on the front line inside the country, sanitation workers, the police personnel, everyone who is actually fighting this major pandemic. I think history is being created in front of our eyes as we see, and we are actually living through history, through these days. So it's a big, whatever we say, whatever we do, we have to have a silent prayer and a good wishes to all of them. That is first thing I want to say. The second thing is maybe I can share my screen and I can make a comment based on that. Give me a second. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Great. So, and it is full screen, right? Now it should be full screen. Okay. So usually with any other talk, like our Indian tradition, we're supposed to declare what it is about, who it is meant for, and what is the use or benefit for them. So let me say right at the outset that what I'll be sharing with you today is actually what I learned myself firsthand, and also by talking to a lot of good people in government, in academia, in industry, entrepreneurs, startups, incubators, and so on. I try to gather a lot of good stories and also good practices across them, and I'm trying to put them all together in about an hour or so of this interactive session. And who it is meant for, I am told that most of the participants today are teachers and students, mostly from medical side, medicine, pharma, and so on. I think there will be a few engineering students also, maybe other streams, sciences, management, I hope. And also, of course, some managers, working professionals, aspiring innovators, entrepreneurs. I'm hoping it is a mix of all of them, and that will be fantastic when we go into discussions. And finally, what is in it for people in the room? One, of course, is I hope to make it very interesting and give you a good evening on a Saturday evening. I don't want to give you differential equations and lectures here. So I want to make sure it is interesting, enjoyable to you. So it'll be a lot of useful information, but also perhaps the most key thing there is hopefully that you will get some information or inspiration from this talk, that if you have been thinking about taking some idea that you have had, either as a doctor or even as a student or entrepreneur, all the way to real life and making an impact, I think maybe you may find some glimpses of ideas to the whole thing. So I'm hoping for the best, that it will be interesting and useful both to you. So let me lay the roadmap of what we will talk about today evening. So first thing I'll talk about is about if you have an idea, and how do you take the idea all the way to, let's say, real life impact? And it's a journey which has several valleys of death. So I'll alert you to these valleys of death, but also I'll give you formulae, or let's say some ways to overcome these things so you can actually reach the end goal, number one. Number two, for teachers and maybe even for heads of institutions, heads of departments, I would like to mention that if you want to create an innovation ecosystem, how do you go about building that, and why healthcare makes a very good starting point? The third one is about a bit of glimpse of our lab called BETIC, and how BETIC is acting like a running partner for aspiring innovators and entrepreneurs in medtech area. That's the first three parts. And then we also will talk about a success story. Just to give you a recipe or an illustration. Whatever I'm talking about, I'll illustrate using a success story of this smart stethoscope, which actually is playing a very important role even in the current scenario of COVID. And then from the story, we'll also kind of extract what is a process that perhaps you could think about implementing in your institutions. And finally, a few ingredients, best practices to create many more success stories, not just one success, but many success stories. Now, what I'm going to do is that it's not going to be one long talk. It's going to be 6 talks of 10 minutes each. And after end of every 10 minutes, there will be a reflection point where I would encourage you to get onto the chat box and maybe type what you feel about that reflection point. So just to practice, so here is the first reflection point. I would like you to go onto your chat box and maybe just type saying, answer the question, is the session transmission loud and clear enough? So you can say type yes, or maybe say no, and that's a good starting point for all of us. So I would encourage you to just look for the chat box and type something so we all know how it works. And I would request Professor Pete or someone to actually keep an eye on the chat box.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Lakshman Puli is taking care of
Yes,
that.
I'm
Yeah, so now we get on to the first part of it. So let me start from how good we Indians are. If you look at, just type the word Jugaad and India, you will get lots of nice pictures like this. These are more recent pictures, at least the middle one and the right one. So in spite of lockdown, Indians are at it, okay? The first one, of course, is an old one, but I can tell you even a student, locked up somewhere without a mirror, well, he can shave. Here is a teacher in the middle. You can see how teacher is getting around with the teaching students by putting a tab and beaming the whole thing like we're doing right now. And physical distancing, there is a milk wala or it is a rickshaw wala. And even this picture of the village women practicing physical distancing at the borewell. So we have many examples of Indians being innovative like this. And I think you can just go and find some more, and it's really very interesting. So the question is, if we are so very innovative, why are we importing all these things today? I mean, your mobile phones to electronic goods to kitchen equipment, your defense, you must be hearing in the news, our industrial machinery, medical devices, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Why are we importing all these things if we are so innovative? The reason is that if you look at our industry right now, and we are neither able to match the quality of the Western countries like USA and Germany, nor the cost of Eastern countries. You talk about China, Vietnam, Bangladesh. These guys are able to produce goods at lower cost than us. So we are neither able to meet the quality or the cost of Western or Eastern countries. But the point is that as a customer, if you look at yourself as a customer, you are always looking for better features, or maybe better suitable for your local requirements, or high quality reliability, or low cost. And tomorrow there is a better product, maybe from India, you will go for that. But it has to meet all these conditions. So then the question arises in our mind is, so can we really do it? Have we lost the game? Are other countries ahead of us? I want to say that no, because if you see some nice technologies on the right side, let's say 3D printing, or it's virtual reality, or Internet of Things, or machine learning, artificial intelligence, these are all kind of IT-based, information technology-based technologies. And India is very good at it inherently. We are good at maths, we are good at geometry, we are good at programming. That's the reason why we have become the IT powerhouse of the whole world. Okay. All we need to do is now develop products for ourselves instead of developing for other people. So the way forward is if we can somehow leverage our own strengths and create products, innovative products, designed in India, manufactured in India, and we're already seeing that happening right in front of our eyes, whether it's mobile phones, whether it's personal protective equipment. India is getting onto the game right now as we speak. But when you say product, it is not a mechanical or electronic product. For a product, you need to put all kinds of specializations together. You need the user domain. So if it's a medical product, you need a doctor or medical people. You need physical sciences, physics, chemistry, maths people. You need design engineers, engineering people, technology people, social sciences people, management people, and so on. And we need an ecosystem in which all of them can work together. We Indians are great in working individually, but we need now systems and ecosystems where we can work together. So what is stopping us from doing that? And here is where, let me introduce you what I mean by the values of death. And you can see academia on the left side, society on the right side. And if someone, a researcher in academia, has a new idea or a concept, okay, the first value of death they have to cross is to create a proof of concept. Build something, even if it is a kacha, even if it is raw, even if it is using clay or some plastic or wood or whatever, or breadboard, create something which you can show to people what you had in mind. That is called as a proof of concept. That's the first step. Then you go and build a prototype. We take the idea to invention stage. And prototyping can be done by 3D printing and all those innovation centers that we are hearing about coming up all over the place. If you're in Hyderabad, the T Hub is a great example of a great place where you can go and build prototypes, give shape to ideas. But that is not the game. And many researchers will publish a paper, maybe file a patent and stop there and hope that the industry will take it forward. There is a third value of death where you have to translate your prototype into a marketable product. That is where the invention gets translated into innovation. It's a commercializable invention is innovation. And then only after that, you can go get the government license, go and do the mass production, distribution, marketing, and so on. So unless you cross all the values of death, you cannot take the ideas to impact or what called as lab to land. You know? Now, pause for a minute and think which among these four values of death is the most critical one. Is it the first one? Is it the second one? Third one? Fourth one? Look at the amount of money required. The amount of funds required for the last stage is the highest. You may need crores of rupees to actually set up a factory, hire people, do mass production, and so on. Is it the highest one? Most difficult one? No. The most critical value of death, where the most of the ideas fall into the value, is the third value, which is a translation of research prototypes into marketable products. Why? Because academics are thinking that industry will do. Industry is thinking that academics will do. No one is doing that. And also both of them do not have the know-how of how to do that properly. And maybe industry thinks it is too risky to take an academic idea and go forward. It's easier to copy some idea which is already selling very well in some other country. So in this whole game, what can academics do? And let me, in front of you, put an axis. Y-axis has creation and transfer. X-axis has knowledge and products. And you can see knowledge is on the academia side, products is on the social side. Okay. If you cross them, you get 4 quadrants. So knowledge creation would be research. Knowledge transfer would be education. Product creation is what is called as development. You know, in R&D, development is product creation. And of course, products transferring is business, right? And we have 4 different kinds of people doing that, you know, scientists and teachers and engineers and entrepreneurs. The issue is that we think that knowledge is represented by Saraswati and wealth, business is represented by Lakshmi. And there's a big wall in between. We think that these two cannot coexist. And when I showed this slide to someone I really respected, he said that, yeah, it is very difficult. You need to put a lot of energy to bring them together. We have to change the mindset of people saying that no, knowledge has to be converted into products which can make social impact and also, of course, create wealth, but also impact. And that is why I start putting this in the middle, the Shakti, because you need a lot of Shakti energy to bring the 2 sides together. Going forward, the role of academics, okay? And the teachers in the room may think for a second, what is it that you like to do among the 4 things? Do you like to teach? Do you like to do research? Do you like to tinker and build products? Or do you like to go to real world, look at what is happening and go and tell stories to your students? What among them interests you most? Okay. And you will be good at one of those things. But if you really want to get into this game of connecting academia and society through innovative products, you need to connect all the four sides. And like Chakravyuh, there is only one good starting point. The starting point is the real world. I encourage teachers to watch the real world. Of course, now it is lockdown and you can't really travel and go and see everything. But I used to tell people before lockdown, if you have a chance, go on a weekend, go visit a hotel or a hospital or a farm or a factory, go visit, ask questions. And when you come back to your class on the Monday, the following week, you tell a story to your students. And maybe you take some pictures using your mobile phone, take some videos, show that in the first 2-3 minutes and tell, this is what I did last weekend. I was in a farm and I saw this farmer doing something. And if you are a good teacher and don't come in the way, some student will say, why are they doing like that? Why can't they do like this? And if you really not come in the way and let the student try something out, encourage him, not discourage him or her, that leads to a project. And if you do it again and again, it doesn't matter if the project succeeds or fails, you get a lot of valuable experience. Failures actually are very valuable in this whole innovation game. And if you do it again and again and again, somewhere you will succeed. The success story leads to more success stories, and you build a very nice ecosystem. Now, what kind of people do you need for doing this? And I want to show that to you in this particular part of this. You really need people who can connect the four sides. You need to, either you are searching for a person who connects the four sides, or if you are yourself thinking about what is the right thing that you want to do in life, look at these four again, and that also gives an answer to your question. So think about what you really love to do. Think about what you are good at doing, what you can be paid for, what the world needs. How do you know what is the criteria for that? The measurement for that is, if you love to do something, it keeps you cheerful. You forget about food and sleep. What you're good at doing, what you're confident about, because your degree is in that, you have been trained in that, so you're confident what you're good at doing. And of course, what can be paid for buys your home and food and maybe car or whatever it is. So you are comfortable life. But if you do something what the world needs, you get inner contentment. Again, if I cross the four sides, what you love to do and what you're good at doing, that can be defined as passion. And I'll just give you an example of a person that you might be knowing very well now. What you're good at doing and what you can be paid for is actually your profession. Okay. What you can be paid for and what the world needs is vocation. In case you don't know the third picture, that's Anand Kumar, who is the founder of Super 30, which trained a lot of JEE's aspirants. And of course, what the world needs and what you love to do really, that's a mission. Again, like last time, the trick is to find something. If you're looking for yourself, look at what is it that in life which connects all the four sides. And if you go after that, it gives you a lot of contentment and of course confidence and cheerfulness, and of course makes your life comfortable also because you are earning something from that. Or if you are setting up some mission, okay, an innovation center or whatever, or a company, if you're looking for partners or the leaders for that, look for people who connect all the four sides again. Okay, so that's end of my part one, and time for the first reflection point. And I would like you to answer this question. You could be a teacher, you could be a student, of course you could be a professional doing something else. But please answer the question, do you really think that teachers, and the kind of teachers that you know, can they really guide and mentor students in entrepreneurship, setting up businesses with innovative products? And you can answer yes or no, and then you can, if ideally you should write yes and write 2-3 words after that. Yes, why you think yes? Or you can say no, and then you write and say why you think no. Okay, so I'm going to just watch the chat box here. So Dr. Vaishali says yes, Shiva says yes by motivation. Subburaj, Professor Subburaj saying practicing industry personnel should be the one doing. Okay, Subburaj, that's the right answer. And that's the question. So how many teachers you think are really have walked the path themselves That's the kind of teachers who can actually guide the students very well. But even if the teachers don't come in the way and let the students make mistakes, that's also not bad. Many times we do not allow the students to make mistakes. We give them a very safe path. We give a safe path to them. That's not, people don't learn much. So Divya says there's a gap in the mindset and orientation. Yes. Yes. And Dr. Vema Kiran says idea can be from anywhere. Yeah. Okay. I was looking for anything interesting also and continue to do that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Buraj, you agree with me. Okay. So let me keep moving. So where do we start? If you want to build an innovation ecosystem, where do we start? And I just put an alphabetical thing for you. And I think the lockdown really has told us what is really essential in life. You can see that agriculture and food is essential. Medical devices is essential. Your consumer electronics, including the computers and mobile phones and all the network that we are connecting each other, that is essential. And some more, defense. And if you look at E, I found 4 E's which are very critical now. Energy, environment, education, and of course, entertainment also, I thought. And all these are big businesses. Fintech is a big business. And I can go down the entire alphabets and find many more. But the question is this. If you want to build the innovation ecosystem, if you're a medical institute, of course, you do medical innovation center, fine. But suppose you're an engineering institute, suppose you're a management institute, where do we start? What kind of an area? You can't start everything and do well, so you have to start somewhere. So where do you start that? And I thought I went back to the SDGs. You know, the United Nations has put up the 17 areas where the world needs to put effort because this makes the whole world a better place. And when I looked at that, health actually is number 3. I said, great. And then I said, and looked around a little more carefully, I found many more areas which are indirectly linked to health. It's poverty or economic growth, innovation, life on land, even gender equality, sustainable cities, okay, and responsible consumption, production, you know, many more things, partnerships. So half of the things are either directly or indirectly linked to healthcare. But that is beyond that. I'll give you 4 more reasons. Healthcare is a universal need. I mean, I think I don't have to tell there are many doctors in the room at this point of time. You know how many healthcare problems are there. And for all those things, we need those affordable devices for both diagnosis and treatment. And for India, this is a very special need. We are now importing 50,000 crores worth of medical devices every year. I'm sorry, we need 50,000 crores and we're importing 80% of them, which is about 40,000 crores every year. But that is not the only point. The country that we import maximum devices is from USA, and USA spends $7,500 per person per year on healthcare. We have only $70 per year, which means our affordability is less than 1% of US affordability. So we can't just buy and use it all over the place. We need to do something about it. So make our devices equally good quality, but highly affordable. It's like 90% more affordable at least. The reason number 2 is that today, if you look at healthcare, and let me use the word bio as a generic term, and you cross bio with any field, you take any field, chemistry, electronics, you know, materials or mechanical or physics, even statistics, okay, or technology. You have so many areas which have come up now, which are worth chasing. In fact, a lot of research today, cutting edge research is happening in these interdisciplinary areas. Pure areas, there's very little to do research on. You cross the areas, and then you have a lot of new potentials to start looking at. In fact, many Nobel Prizes are coming up in areas of intersections. So bio is a very good area for research also. That's my reason number 2. Reason number 3 is that government is now giving a lot of support in this area, whether it is for basic research, for product development, testing, clinical trials. And if I just look at one government body called BIRAC, in case you have not heard about it, it is a not-for-profit, you can say company, Section 8 company, set up by the Department of Biotechnology under the Ministry of Science and Technology. So it's an arm of an arm. It's like a finger of the government. And that BIRAC has so many schemes for supporting innovators at every stage. You're a researcher, you want to try something out, there's a scheme for you, Sitare or Sparsh. You're a teacher, you want to do something in commercialize an idea, you have, that's a PACE, okay? You are a student who finished graduation and now you want to go and start a company, you have BIG. Your company has done some product, you want to go further, you have SBRI or BIPP. So there are schemes for every aspect of life cycle. What I showed you earlier, the values of death, almost all values of death, first, second, third, definitely, even the fourth value of death partially, there are schemes of government to cover that. So you can actually go to any of these incubators which are there. You can Google these and you will find many in Hyderabad itself. And of course, all over the country. I'm not talking about Hyderabad only here. So this is great support from government at this point of time. But I kept the best reason for the last. When you work in healthcare innovation, medical devices, it's a great amount of satisfaction because when you create affordable devices, reduce the cost per device or cost per treatment, and especially affect those which are at the bottom of the pyramid. And these people, if they are unable to go to job even for one day, and you know daily wage workers, how difficult their life was, and all the scenes we have seen in the news recently. If you can somehow help them retain their jobs or do high value jobs, it's a great impact. But also healthcare is now a great employment generation also. The great news in recent times is that healthcare is now the largest employment sector in USA. 1 in 6 people in USA is in healthcare. And India also now the startups in healthcare are the largest after e-commerce. So this is a great field that is coming up in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. But it's not easy to just do that. If you want to really set up the innovation ecosystem, you need to bring 4 stakeholders together. You need to get government in the room. If it's a medical innovation, hospitals have to be there as partners. Industry there has to partner, academia has to partner. Government essentially does funding and regulation. Hospitals is where you find a problem and go back to them saying, is a solution working properly. Academia is where you do research and development. And also, of course, you identify, train the scientists and mentor innovators. So innovation incubation centers and so on. And industry is where you go back to mass production and marketing and distribution, and even investments, you can go back to that. So I give you a broad picture of how to do that. And I'm going to talk in the next segment at some point, I'll talk about how can you do all these things using a 4D process, which I call as define, develop, deliver, and deploy. But I'll come back to that a little later. We take one more break here. And what I just shared with you was this, after the values of death, why healthcare is a good starting point to build the innovation ecosystem, to train our young people in doing collaborative research and product development, and of course, take it to industry and so on. So here is one more break and one more reflection point. And I just thought I'll ask you this question. I put those alphabets in front of you. Either you can pick from alphabets or you can say something apart beyond that. Which other field you think is critical and very good to build the ecosystem? You can pick from the alphabet, apart from healthcare, which other field? I would like to hear from all of you which other thing is most important, next most important, let us say. Of course, you can say this is even more important healthcare, and I'm fine with that. So let's hear from you. Apart from healthcare, so regulatory is still healthcare, biosensor is still healthcare. So all the doctors in the room, for once, just keep your health medical in a box. Yeah, so rural, agriculture, bio-waste, food industry. Okay, yeah, food is coming up big time. And of course, you can put food and healthcare together. So you can say medical food or nutritional food, or that's a good combination between those 2 areas also, if you wish. Yeah, Mohit Mishra is saying nutritional food, telemedicine, nutraceuticals, yes. Okay, education, happy to hear that. Genetic engineering, and Santosh saying online education platforms. Yes, education is big time coming up. Agree with you. So nice to see some of your responses here. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay. Let me now give you a glimpse of our lab at IIT Bombay. So this is called as BETIC, which stands for Biomedical Engineering and Technology Innovation Center. And it is supported by the state government's science and technology, you can say, ministry, and the central government's central ministry also together. And we started off with a vision saying that we will not just do research and stop there, not just file a paper or a publication or a patent and just stop there, but we'll go all the way from idea to invention to innovation to impact. What I told you, covering all the values of that. we also decided that we will do it in a very systematic way. We'll go to the hospitals first, ask the doctors what is that they really need to do, which is bedside, and then come to engineering bench, then do research and development, then go to the startup companies or industry, take it into business and production, and then go back to bedside and offer the products back to the clinicians. So we thought we'll do this end-to-end kind of a innovation. And that's where we started off. And we also put a process in place. I just want to do it quickly, this part, but anyone's interested, we can cover that in the final questions. What we do is we conduct a hackathon. In fact, we usually conduct hackathon in June, July, August, but now this year we could not do because of the pandemic. And from the hackathon, we take the winners and we do a 5-day, 4-night, continuous 5 days camp. It's like a very intensive training camp for the winners of the hackathon. And both the hackathon and the camp, we make teams of 4. So every team has one clinician, either it's a doctor or a resident or a biomedical engineer or a biomedical scientist, then one designer, one mechanical engineer, and one electronics engineer. So a team of 4, biomedical designer, mechanical, electronics. And then they together look at a new problem and solve it within 4 or 5 days, come with some proof of concept. And those who really are able to do something good, the winners of the camp, we bring them to BETIC and give them a fellowship of 1 year. Within 1 year, we give them all kinds of mentoring and facilities, and of course funding to take the idea, that idea or some other idea, all the way into a prototype stage. And it tells them put a prototype in an exhibition, that is MEDEX. Once you put an exhibition, you get the feedback of all kinds of people, potential patients, potential partners from industry, maybe doctors, and you get to know, then you know, okay, fine, everyone is asking for it. Maybe that is when I should start a company. And SIGN is our technology business incubator. And you can start a company, you get an office, and then you get some space and all that for 3 years. And if you succeed, then you go and go into the industry research park or regular industry, you can go and start up. This whole process from the hackathon, identifying a problem and a researcher, all the way to beginning of let's say, the startup company, we can do in 2 to 3 years now. And we have done it multiple times. So going further into our lab, we have, this is not a very big lab, it's about 2,000 square feet total. We have labs for conceptualizing and for designing, simulation, plastics prototyping, electronics prototyping, and so on. These are not very expensive labs. These are not very big labs. Any institution can set up these labs without much of funding. But what is important is that our labs have a very good systems in place, and I'll talk about that as we go along. What is this ISO 13485? We'll mention that in case some of you have not heard about it. Now let me show you pictures of that pipeline. So I told you the first one was hackathon. So these are the participants of our hackathon. We did about, I think, a dozen of them in different places. We don't do it in IIT Bombay. We do it in places like Bangalore and Nagpur and Pune, but also in Kolhapur and Wardha, places, small Pune, places like that. And some of the winners of that, we have brought them to the camp, which is a 5-day event and 5-day, 4-night event. People don't go to sleep in the nights of day 1, 2, 3, 4. And day 1, they learn how to define a problem. Day 2, they learn how to create a new solution. Day 3, they actually fabricate and test partially, basic minimum testing. Day 4, they plan how do you file a patent, how do you make a business plan. And the day 5, they present the whole thing. So we do it mostly at IIT Bombay these days. Typically, this happens in September. We don't know whether we'll do it this September or not, but we'll have some version of that. So this is our camp. And after the camp, we pick up the winners of that. Many of those people actually are working professionals. Either if they were working in a job and they resign from the job and come and join BETIC, or many times they have a job offer. They finish their education, they have a job offer, but then they decide not to go for that job and continue on the entrepreneurship route. So this is our photo taken last year. And the second thing what we do is we also connect them to a lot of doctors, clinicians. What you see in the picture are some of the top doctors, top neurologists, top knee surgeon, top laparoscopic surgeon, orthopedic surgeon, and so on, from a single hospital from Bombay. They all come to our lab. So they come to our lab, talk to us. We go to the hospitals, talk to them. We observe, we understand the problems. We don't do any innovation unless we understand the problem very well. And of course, doctors help us a lot in doing that. What is the result of all these things? In the last 5 years, we have now a an array of products. And you can see on the left side, some screening and diagnostics equipment, monitoring equipment. You have a glaucoma screening, you have a ET block detector, you have a smart stethoscope, you have biopsy gun, diabetic foot screener, club foot brace monitor, and so on. And on the right side, you will see some surgical instruments, some rehabilitation equipment, and so on. And if you're wondering what is green and blue or what is red and blue, all the red ones are startup companies created by the researchers. After the researcher develops a product, he or she says, let me start my own company. So these are startup companies. And the blue ones are the Indian companies which said that we like your product and we want to license it and we want to manufacture and market that. So we have about 15 a dozen startup companies and about 5 licensed to industry. And in case you are seeing on a larger screen and you can see a green star next to some of those things. If you're seeing a mobile phone, maybe it is not visible, but the first 5 on the left side, for example, have a green star. And the green star means it is the BIRAC BIG award. I mentioned some time back, this BIG award today is one of the best awards in the country. You get 50 lakh rupees to take your idea into a startup company. This award doesn't go to institution. It goes, the check comes in the name of the startup company. You have a startup company, you get the check, and with 50 lakh rupees, you can pay yourself a salary, your team some salary, buy some equipment, do some testing, marketing, prototyping. It's a great way to start a medical device innovation business. So we got this award about 12, 13 times. Imagine 50 lakh each. And that is a very powerful starting point for these students. So I would encourage you to look up BIRAC website, BIG website, and all of you can just look up the thing and maybe even think of applying for that next time. And I remember I talked about exhibitions. Once you develop a product, before you start a company, actually, ideally, it's good to start to look at an exhibition. And we conduct our own exhibitions or we participate in other exhibitions. And exhibitions give us a lot of good feedback. And you can see Dr. Harshvardhan in 3 different exhibitions looking at our different products which we have put up. So this gives you very nice feedback, and that gives you a lot of confidence when you go and start a company. And these are, of course, pictures of our partnerships with the doctors. In every picture, we have a doctor and an engineer. And in some pictures, you also have a patient, like the baby on the second row. That is the club foot monitor I was talking about. And many more pictures. Of course, you can't make out who is a doctor, who is an engineer, but every picture has both doctors and engineers. I suppose you can make out at least white coats is doctors. Engineers don't have any coats or something like that. There's no uniform. But these are our happy pictures because these give us the motivation to go and do more of these things. Okay, so end of part 3. And so we talked about how our lab, what I call as BETIC lab, with us basic facilities, but more importantly, collaborations between different kinds of people within the lab and with clinicians and with industry partners and so on. We have been able to create some kind of facility and ecosystem where students or even working professionals, aspiring innovators and entrepreneurs, they can actually go and try out something if they really want to do that. Okay. So now my reflection point and question is, I said that it doesn't take too much money or too much space, right? I said that, which is true, but it requires a lot of effort. Trust me, it took me about 5 years to build the ecosystem. The question I'm asking you, and I'm asking you as a student or a teacher or a director or a dean, whatever, do you really think it is worth replicating such innovation ecosystems in other institutions? I'm talking about every institution, every small engineering college and medical college. Do you think we should have innovation ecosystems like that? 2,000 square feet, facilities, and people coming and working and prototyping and winning awards and starting companies and so on. I want to hear your answers. Again, you can say yes or no and put a dash and say why yes and why no in 2-3 words. Yes, Shiva says yes, with same quality being maintained. Agree with you. That is the toughest part. Facility, don't worry too much. Doesn't take much money. People think that IITs have a lot of money and they have a lot of facilities. It's not true. Individual facilities are not very expensive. So I see a lot of yeses, building new entrepreneurs. Yeah. insufficient attention by policymakers. So don't worry too much about policymakers. If you want to do something in life, just go ahead and do something, even if it's a small starting point. It is very, very important to start the whole journey. You start a journey, you are sincere about it, eventually people will help you out, and eventually government also will help you. Yeah, Subbu says again, we have thousands of diseases, so we need more young minds. Yes, uncertain regulations. So regulations is a critical thing. I'm going to touch upon regulation as we go along, but regulation is a very big thing. But let me say that regulation is actually being streamlined nicely in the country. They are being put into the right track. I mean, now maybe it is more difficult for good people, but it is more difficult for bad people also, who are all these days simply replicating without any quality concerns. So yeah, many heads, many ideas. So thank you for your comments. And you now have earned yourself a story. Okay, so let me now tell a story about a smart stethoscope. So this story actually has 3 actors. There's one actor from all the way from Dehradun. His name is Tapas Pandey. And the second person is Dr. Nambiraj, who is from a rural medical hospital in a place called Derwan, which is between Bombay and Goa, midpoint. And the third actor here is one Adarsha, who is from Koppa. And at the time the story started in 2015, Tapas was working in a semiconductor company, Intel Hyderabad. Adarsha was working in L&T Bombay as a software engineer. Tapas was electronics engineer. And Nambiraj, of course, was a rural hospital doctor. So these 3 people met for the first time in IIT Bombay in that BETIC camp. I told you about the Medical Device Innovation camp. We did it in September. So first camp we did was in September 2015. And you can see the people in the front row, Dr. Nambiraj with the mic. So he's telling that when in the rural hospital, when a patient comes and is putting the stethoscope on the patient's chest, and then he is hearing a sound which he has never heard before. And I'm sure many of you are now, many doctors in the room are now hearing this COVID breathing sounds very quite different from what you have been trained for, right? So he says that if I hear a sound which I have never been trained before, what do I do? Is it emergency? I don't know if it's emergency or not. Should I send the patient to for referral in a tertiary care hospital in a big city, but then the patient has to travel by bus, it costs him money one day. Should I do that, or it is not emergency? Instead of sending the patient to city, can I send the sound file to the city, is what he said. And then these 2 guys, Tapas and Adarsha, said, okay, we want to help you. In 3 days, okay, they just built this, what you see, contraption on the left side. So there's a normal stethoscope. They put a microphone into that. They converted the microphone signal into a digital signal. They took it into the box, which you see. From the box, they took it into laptop. From laptop to internet. And then we had internet in this room. So on the final day, Tapas put the stethoscope on his chest, like you see on the right side picture. And then we could hear his heartbeat on the loudspeaker in the room without any wires to the loudspeaker. So this was interesting. And of course, after the event was over, they all gone back to their house, gone back to their jobs, Hyderabad and Bombay, L&T. And then after 6 months, I get a phone call from both of them saying, sir, life mein maja nahi aa raha hai. We want to now, can we take the stethoscope project further? Can we actually implement that? And I'm waiting for the phone call. So I said, Ajao. So we got them that 1-year fellowship in IIT Bombay. And we got them in touch with Dr. Lancelot Pinto at Hinduja Hospital, one of the top private hospitals and charitable hospitals in Bombay. And then together they visited a lot of hospitals in Bombay and Pune. It's not just one hospital, one doctor. They talked to a lot of doctors, found out how stethoscopes are used, and then they found all the small details of what is the missing links, missing factors. And slowly they evolved over the 3 years. From the proof of concept, which you saw in the camp, it took them 1 year to build a prototype. It's some kind of a mock-up, but it works somewhat, and it converts the sound. And you can, in the normal stethoscope, the point the doctor said is that you don't take away, you don't take away our identity, the doctor's identity, right? So they said you keep the identity on. So they built that, but it took them 1 more year to build the product, which you see in my neck right now. And they also built the software for visualizing the sound and an application to even to analyze the sound. So they can for example, distinguish between wheeze sound and some irregular heartbeats and so on. And if you see the value proposition, what they said is, and many doctors have their favorite stethoscopes. Maybe after medicine is over, they go and buy a good model, right? They don't want to give it up. What value proposition that this company and others have said, they said here also is just an attachment. You can just convert your normal stethoscope into a digital stethoscope, okay? And then with the Bluetooth, you can even save the sound file. So you can have high fidelity amplification, you hear better, you can cancel the noise, you can record the sound, you can play back the sound, you can share the sound file with someone else, you can save it as part of electronic health record, okay? All those things you can do, and without losing the look and feel of the conventional stethoscope. Why I'm saying so many times is because they found in the beginning, the doctor said, don't give us headphones. Because if you are sitting in the room and looking at our patient files with a headphone, when a patient walks in, they get a wrong impression. This is our identity, don't take away our identity. So this was one of the valuable things that they got when they were initially talking to all the doctors. So they filed a patent, and then they applied for this BIG grant. That was one of the second grant that we got. And they got the grant, and then they started a company called IU Devices. What you see is their team about a year back. That's the company incubated in the IIT Bomba has a technology business incubator. And you can see Adarsha and Tapas on the front and along with their team. And they started going to, of course, validation. Some of the initial validations were in the rural primary healthcare centers. In fact, the very first order was from a district development officer, an IAS officer from Bhavnagar. He said, come and demonstrate that to our PHC doctors. They did a demo in the morning. Afternoon, he had an order of, Adarsha got an order of 10 stethoscopes. And that became a regular feature. So every year they go to different camps. So in 18, they went to camp in North Maharashtra. Last year, December, they went to camp in the Eastern Maharashtra, almost Andhra and Maharashtra border. And of course, they started applying for awards wherever good cash was available, because for business, you need a lot of money to hire good people and run the business. So they got a lot of awards, what you see, and also they got orders. Many of these awards are actually awards as orders. So Gujarat Startup Summit, Maharashtra Startup Summit, they're all awards for orders. And these orders are primarily for primary healthcare centers. So there were a lot of these stethoscopes got deployed in PHCs. And of course, slowly they started getting attention from media. They were in Forbes and I don't know, your Business Outlook and so on. And media coverage is good because then you get more attention, more branding, more enquiries. And for business, you need more enquiries and more customers, more orders. So today they have almost 1,600 units sold all over the country. All the blue territories, I guess they have sold, and many more are, I think Bihar also is covered now. And many of them are in the primary healthcare centers. And many of these orders are for telemedicine companies. So these companies are using these devices for recording and transmitting sounds for doing telemedicine. So it's a very happy situation, very satisfactory thing for us, our researchers and faculty at BETIC, and also for the team of IU Devices, incredible work that they're doing. But story is not over yet. What happened about 3-4 months back was that when COVID started, they realized that this device is a lifesaver even for doctors. Now, doctors, when they want to auscultate the patients, you don't have to do it like that. You can pluck off this unit because this is a Bluetooth connectivity, and then you can just put this the other part inside your personal protective equipment, so you're not exposed to the patient. Okay, and not only that, in case the doctor wants to stay at home, and many other doctors, senior doctors who are experienced in auscultating, they may have their own issues, and they may not want to. They become a high-risk group for going to hospitals. So they are able to sit at home. I can see a picture on the right side, and you can have a caretaker or a caregiver just auscultating and then saving the file, or even a real-time transmission. And doctors sitting at home can do this whole thing. And that became a very big thing, and we started getting a lot of inquiries from the doctors. You can see, for example, Dr. Alka here saying that I need at least 5 right now immediately for COVID auscultation. And a lot of these stethoscopes are actually now in use in hospitals across the country for remote auscultation, safe remote auscultation. Then this company went into another board. Someone said, what about the booth? What about the screening booths? And this company initially joined hands with some other partners, industry partners. They created a safe booth where doctors can be inside And whether you do thermal screening, so they put thermal screening, they put this pulse oximeter and even swab taking, for example. So without doctor and patient, communicating with each other, just a glass barrier with just a microphone, things like that, they're able to now do all these things. And once the first booth was set up, they started getting orders. And now we have this booths now all over Bombay. They have now 15 booths, including one at IIT Bombay itself recently. But now we have 15 booths all over the city, and these are now getting more and more built up. This is really helping in safe screening of COVID patients. So here is a video. Dr. Pulli, I'm not sure, are you able to hear the sound?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Although not clear, but yeah. I think we lost the voice.
Okay, so I think I forgot that doing, so I'm going to stop sharing and I'll do sharing again.
Yeah, you can do that.
I forgot to do that in the beginning.
You have to share the system audio.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Heart and lung problems.
Yeah, now it's fine, sir.
Yes, thank you.
We are in the office of IU Devices, a BETIC success story in response to a clinical problem identified by Dr. Nambiraj.
I knew Professor Ravi was working on medical diagnostics. I thought stethoscope would be a great beginning because it can solve both the heart and lung problems.
In rural India, patients' healthcare problems go undetected as local healthcare workers are not trained to distinguish between various kinds of hearts and lung sounds.
We have developed this device called IU-Link, which we attach to a conventional stethoscope so that the heart and lung sounds from a remote location can be shared to an expert clinician in a city. This enables in screening of heart and lung diseases at the early stage. So my mother was working as a nurse in a government hospital in a rural place. And in my childhood, I have seen that there are not many doctors in a rural place. So this problem of lack of doctors made me work on this problem and finally to come up with a product like this called IU-Link. Around 2 lakh children are born with congenital heart diseases every year in India. And the problem is we have only 4,000 cardiologists, whereas the requirement is 88,000 cardiologists. So this shows a very big gap in the healthcare.
This is how the IU-Link stethoscope works. Healthcare workers can amplify the patient's heartbeat, store the same, and send it to a trained doctor for a second opinion.
One day, Adarsha, the BETIC engineer, came to me with his newly innovated device, which is totally Indian made, IU-Link, which is basically a stethoscope with augmented capacity to record the heart sounds and seamlessly transmit it to cloud devices from where I can retrieve, assess and opine whether the person or the patient is having heart disease or no and what kind of therapy he needs. One of my interns who hails from Rajasthan, I gave this device to him when he was going to his native place for vacation. He used it there, he found a patient, again a young lady who had symptoms and he found some murmurs. He wanted to be sure whether it is significant and what type of disease it is and what therapy we can offer. He recorded the sounds and sent it to me, and based on that I thought it is a valvular heart disease, which is probably since birth congenital heart disease and likely to be a pulmonary stenosis. And I asked him to bring the patient here to Mumbai so that we can offer her balloon valvuloplasty and it will be curable, that will relieve her from her symptoms.
Okay, so I hope you liked that story. Is my sound available?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And story was very interesting, sir.
So we come to the now the fourth reflection point. And you saw the story, right? You have seen how this company, how these two people, young people, and now they have many more in the team. How they started from a basic idea in a hackathon, you can say, and how they walked through the whole path, and now it is making a difference. I want you to just think for a second and tell me what you think is the most critical factor for success. Creating success factors like this, success stories like that. What do you think is the most critical factor? Okay. All right. So
I'm typing in the messages from YouTube.
yes, I was just trying to adjust my screen so I can see all of them in the same screen. So great. Passion and smart work, idea and making product, thinking and passion, I see repeated. Basic need of end user, fulfill need of the hour, affordability. Okay. Scalability, yeah. Determination, finding the right problem. But I think the word which is now kind of repeating is determination and passion, looks like. Okay, we know people give up so easily also. Okay, so let me now continue. And you keep thinking about it, please. Okay, so let me continue and give you some tricks of how or what is the pathway really to do this. Are you able to see my whole screen, the presentation mode, right?
Yes.
Are you seeing my
Yeah.
participant in chat also?
Chat box, it's hiding on the, it's coming on the.
Okay, so I'm going to hide that. Okay, so now let me give you a bit of share of how we do this whole thing. What we do is we kind of divide the whole thing into 4 stages. Okay, we call first stage as we call the first one as a defined stage, where doctors play a very important role. We said then the second stage is a develop stage, where the researcher or engineers play an important role. Then deliver stage and deploy stage. What we also do is divide everything into, again, each one of them into one step. Each step is typically 1 month. So we don't mind spending 1 whole month in, let's say, clinical immersion, 1 whole month defining the problem, 1 whole month developing the concept and seeing it is feasible to go ahead or not. And then you have similar steps for developing, delivering, and deploying and so on. And also what I would like to share with you is that you start with 400 ideas or 400 problems. You have to keep on throwing away things which do not fit the bill, and you prune further. And by the time you come to the last 20 or so, which you actually take it to the mass production, by the time you have done so much of filtering that has a much higher probability of success. Okay. And let me just give you a quick thing of some quick important points in that. One of the most important things is the team building, and I insist that in medical device projects, you must have clinicians either full-time or at least part-time team members, because they know the problems, they understand the problems. Engineers can develop solutions. Engineers don't necessarily understand the problems. And when I say clinicians, I mean all kinds of people who are in touch with the patients, directly or indirectly. And when I say engineers, I mean all those who kind of create solutions and take the solutions all the way. And of course, you have your own specialties, medical specialties and engineering specialties within that. So team formation with both doctors and
Ravi, excuse me, Ravi sir.
Yeah.
Sorry to disturb, but sir, you stop your sharing and again share it, because screen become blurred.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, better now? Better now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for pointing out. Okay, so second thing is within define, I've just first 4 steps only carefully, because that is where most of us make some mistakes. You can get ideas through brainstorming and TRIZ and all those techniques you can look up. But very important is to not to fall in love with your ideas. Many people fall in love, and that's the end of the matter. You have to make sure the idea passes at least 4 acid tests. The first test is that is there really a need for the thing? And you have to verify that. You have to go and talk to 100 people to say that, do you really think this is needed? Second thing is you need a value proposition. Don't make something which is just 10% better or faster or easier or more effective. You are going to get killed in competition. Make it 5 times better or easier or faster or less, or better features, whatever. And don't say it is 5 times cheaper, because cheaper gets the market first. So try to look at value proposition. Look at whether you can do it 2-3 years. If it's going to take you 10 years of time, in 10 years, everything is going to change anyway. There's no point doing it very long, at least in the beginning. And of course, committed team is very important. If you don't have a committed team, you just lose with the first or second value of that. Clinical immersion is very important, and this slide is more for the engineers than for the doctors in the room. I tell engineers, please go talk to the doctors. They're always happy to help you, happy to let you in and observe clinical procedures for diagnosis or treatment or follow-up, but do it with the right privacy, consent, and things like that. And of course, look at the devices, because your whole goal is about medical devices. Look at what devices are used, how much time is being taken, what kind of skill is required, what variations are there, and ask questions. Ask questions, who, what, when, where, and if you notice, why. If the doctor says something, you ask him why. If he says again something, again ask him or her why. If you do that, you can get to the root of the problem. And then you can actually define what exactly you want to solve. Because a well-defined problem can lead to a well-designed solution. And don't make it vague, or don't make the problem definition itself contain a solution. An ideal problem definition should have a desired outcome, what you want to do, what is the clinical need, which is why you need that, and also the target domain, market or customer, whatever. And let me give a very simple example. Let's say portable cabinet, that is what you want. Why you want to safely store medicines, and who wants it? Let's say rural hospitals. It could be an organization or a person, right? So if your definition contains all the 3 things, that is a reasonably good definition. Even if it takes you 1 month, 2 months to come to this one-line statement, it is worth spending the time, because you have defined a good problem to solve. Otherwise, everything else going down the stream can go waste if the problem is not well defined. Then the rest of the game is very well known to engineers. You can do CAD modeling. On computers, you can create a model. You can create what is called as a FEM mesh. You can simulate to see what kind of a loads the device can take. The blue means low stress, red or yellow means high stress. So you know the high stress area can fail, and so you will increase the mass there. And low stress, blue means it is low. So you can reduce the weight there, and you can optimize the shape for functionality as well as weight as well as cost. And then you can do 3D printing and create a prototype, because prototype the doctors can now look and feel and say, okay, this looks okay, now doesn't look okay. So look and feel, you can test, but it is plastic, so you won't really get the final weight of the thing. Only when you manufacture the first batch, okay, maybe you make 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 pieces, that's when the doctors really get to feel okay, and then you can check it out, the device, the armamentarium, and things like that. What you're seeing actually is a medical device. It's a tumor knee implant for children who have bone cancer. Instead of amputating the legs, you basically remove the infected bone, the malignant bone, and replace the bone with a mega prosthesis. This is not arthritic knee joint, but it's the entire knee joint and part of the femur, part of the tibia also. So the third part of the 4, I said 4 Ds, right? Define, develop, deliver, deploy. Delivery is where you actually deliver a safe device. And you first do the testing in the lab, the same tumor knee prosthesis being tested on a fatigue machine. We are putting it through millions of cycles. The machine itself failed, so we had to build another machine to get the testing done. Unless you do that, you don't go to patients. And you test for all kinds of things, biological safety, mechanical, electrical safety, and so on. And of course, performance or efficacy. Then only you go to the human clinical trials. And those, of course, have to go through a lot of regulations, government permissions, hospital ethical trials committees, all this clinicians in the room will know, and only after all these things that you can actually create success stories. So we took us, for us, this project took us 15 years, 15 years from a doctor walking in and saying, we need this for the country, to the first clinical trial happening last year, for 15 years. Of course, now we can now do the job much faster. This took us 15 years for various reasons. And finally, you have to have a plan for commercializing the whole thing. So you need to have a file in which you contain all the details of design, manufacturing, testing. Then you file the patents, and then you transfer the technology or license technology to, you can give it to a startup company, the researcher himself or herself is interested, or you give it to a company. I insist, please, Indian companies, we need to create Indian companies, we can take it forward. And of course, if you have an NGO comes forward saying, I will want to use it for some rural screening or something like that, and I will give it free of cost, or I'll do the screening free of cost, you can also give the license free of cost in national interest. So there are various ways of doing that, but you need to have all this in place. What you will license, how you will license, and how it goes forward to commercialization. Okay, so I have now shared with you 5 parts of my talk, which is also how do you actually take an idea all the way to impact through the define, develop, deliver, deploy, through what I said, bedside to bench to business to bedside again. Okay, and only one part is left, but very quick reflection point. And I'm really keen on this answer. I'm hoping that many of you are attending from small towns, maybe even villages, I don't know. If you're attending from a small town or village, especially rural area, I would like to know, please, I would really get to have your answer. Do you really think that young people, it could be young scientist, a young MSc graduate, or a young engineer, or maybe a young resident doctor, do you really think these young people in small towns, do they have some advantage over these metro city town people who are creating all these startup companies and coming in the newspapers? Do you think rural people have any advantage for innovation and entrepreneurship? So they are reluctant many a times to come forward. Dr. Santosh says that, yeah, no, technology will help rural India. We are saying reverse thing. Can we have people from rural area doing innovation like this? They face actual problems, yes. They don't know about it, yeah. Many times it is information problem, but I think information problem is getting solved thanks to all the all the information. You know, Google Amma is the ultimate teacher. You can go and find anything. Okay, it is a need of rural. Dr. Arjumand Naz is saying that it's a need of rural India. I appreciate that, sir. I agree with you. There are many grassroots innovation. Yes, totally. Okay, but yeah, yes, I think you are now getting the hang of that. So let me go forward. So last part of my talk is best practices. Just a few slides. I've tried to put my best of the best in these slides to say what is the basic fundamental ingredient that you need to create many more success stories. The first thing is a mindset, and I call it as an innovation mindset. And I made it as a DNA strands here. I thought you will appreciate this. I'm saying it has 4 strands. 2 strands, one is a people. So I'm saying doctor in a hospital. Okay. People strand is doctor, researcher, entrepreneur, investor, and the place strand. So you have doctor in a hospital who is defining a need or an idea. Okay. And similarly, researcher in an institute developing a novel solution, a prototype. And an entrepreneur in an incubator, maybe testing the idea, taking into product, commercializable, marketable product. And investors, of course, or industry people, actually mass production and deploying in usage. I call it as an ideation, invention, innovation, and impaction axis. So this, for me, captures to me at a high level. And this slide is really meant for the deans and directors or managers of incubation centers. You need to have this big picture in the mind. And if you are able to connect and put all the things in place, you have a fabulous ingredient formula, you can say, for creating ideation to impact. What you need to do for doing that, you need to put some things in place. One is infrastructure. You need basic facilities for designing and prototyping and basic initial batch manufacturing, testing, and so on. That is equipment. You need processes for, what's called best practices, which I've shared some of those things with you. You have SOPs, like a standard operating procedures. How do you design? How do you test? How do you get people to work together? All these things. And if you can even put a certification to the whole process, you can get an ISO 9000 for your lab for the process. And you have done that for BETIC. That is a process for that. Then you need people there, and you need team, and you need mentors, and mentors who are experienced people who have walked the path, and visitors of all kinds of people. Visitors are very, very important. I'm talking about all kinds of people. I'd say that get architects and painters and tailors and farmers, and explain to them what you're doing. And the kind of comments that they do will give you a lot of insights about how do you pitch it, or maybe even ideas on how to do something new. But the most important thing again is mindset, the culture of innovation. And I keep saying that innovation cannot happen unless you have collaboration. You need collaboration. You need to go out of comfort zones. You need to embrace risks. Risk means failure, so you have to be able to embrace failures and recover from failures. All this is not easy for most of the people. So that is why you need to work as a group, work as a team in a good innovation ecosystem. But to some extent, it is easier if you think about the end user. It's a very hard journey. It's a very difficult journey. End result is great. And you have seen some great stories which I told you today. But the pain that has gone behind that is incredible. But all that pain can be taken care if you have the end user in mind, the poor suffering patient who cannot afford the treatment. If you have that patient in the mind at the center of your focus, everything else can be built around that, and it gives you a lot of energy and also a lot of goodwill and a lot of collaboration and cooperation from people. So that kind of is a central thing. Start from the end user, then go a little bit out of comfort zone, and then get the people, put the processes, and keep on building your facilities. That's the way to go. And of course, document. So the story that I told you about Smart Stethoscope is one out of 16 stories that we documented, along with how they worked on the whole thing. These stories are captured in a book called Essence of Medical Device Innovation. The first print got out of print, and we are now trying to write the second edition. I'm also trying to see if we can get a deal to put the second edition as a soft copy, so everyone can have access to that. But equally important is to have a processes in place which are certified. So we have an ISO 13485, which is for medical device quality management system. This gives a lot of confidence to the team and also confidence to partners, hospitals and government and so on, who know that, okay, these guys are doing in a systematic way and documenting, signed records are there. So this helps in regulatory processes very much. And of course, it is important to share what you're doing with the press, not to become famous, but to share your the success stories, because then many more people will come forward and do these things. Partnerships get built. These companies start getting good branding in various markets. So it helps in many different ways. So it is good to go to press, but in an honest way, because press always is always ready to put something sensational or something, sometimes even a failures. So it's very important to have a very good equation with the journalist and say that what you're doing is sincerely for the good of society. So you have to have a good equation with them. And of course, you expand your network. So BETIC today has now 7 engineering colleges and 7 medical colleges across Maharashtra, and several other colleges in other states also are now have adopted these practices of innovation, and they have run hackathons and set up those BETIC cells and so on. So this is helping us to expand the overall impact of medical device innovation. And last, let me wrap up with this slide saying that if you really want to take the right steps, I have summarized saying that if you want the right results, it really starts from a right action. Okay, and right action comes from right vision. And vision, of course, is a confusing word. If I say, what do you know what vision is, people don't know. You have different answers for vision. But I say that start from right intentions. If your intentions are right, your vision will be right automatically. If your vision is right, your actions will be right. If these 3 are right, you don't have to worry about results. Automatically, results will be automatically right. And you don't have to worry about results actually. So I want to stop with that and just share my last reflection point, which you can keep on typing even as you go forward with discussions. I would like to hear from you, each one of you, please. I would like to hear from you. what was the most interesting or most valuable insight or learning from this session for you? Something that you will think about it tomorrow also, 1 week later, 1 month later, maybe something which will implement, or maybe you'll tell someone important that maybe let us try something like that. What was your most important insight or learning, which hopefully you will implement in some way? Okay, so you keep writing this, and I just will share one screen of our lab website is betic.org. You can go there. I also had one center called the Desai Sethi Center. Now it is a school for entrepreneurship where we train students in entrepreneurship. And in case you want to connect with me, here is my LinkedIn. And if you have a mobile phone or something like that, you can take a screenshot. And if you point your mobile phone, it will take you to my LinkedIn page, and you can connect at that. So, and I'll leave one last thing on the screen with you. One more thing, that in case you're a student, I would encourage you to click on the quiz, because it will just, whatever you heard in the last 1.5 hours, it will just cement some of the key concepts, and it's very, very useful for you. In case you're a working professional, doctor, teacher, researcher, manager, industry person, I would encourage you to click on the survey link, and we are conducting a survey on entrepreneurship education itself. And we would love to have your insights and feedback about what you think should be done, what should be taught, how should be taught, and so on. Okay, so either way, I would encourage you to click. Maybe you can click both, and you are welcome. And that's it. I'll stop here, and now the platform is open for discussion, questions, and your comments about most important insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ravi, for the amazing talk. It is indeed a topic of great potential and interest for our country. After your talk, I just want to say that winners don't do the different thing, they do the things differently. So problems are there, but then it's your view how you can think those problems and giving the solutions. And I think your team is doing wonderful job. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation and your journey, your lab, your BETIC project, and everything. The smart stethoscope, the smart COVID booth. I'm damn sure that there will be a lot of questions from the audience. I will read all those questions one by one and take your responses. Before that, I just want to add one thing. As I taught this subject of medical devices at Mumbai NMIMS, so this India is among the top 20 markets for the medical devices in the world, and the market size for the medical devices expected to reach $50 billion. This Indian industry, surprisingly, the Indian industry is growing at a very faster rate, that is around 15.8% CAGR, which is much higher than that of the world market, which is growing at a rate of just 4.5%. And I think this is the need of an hour where we can focus on the medical devices, and there are several questions in the chat box. We'll take one by one. Professor Vandana Patravali is there from ICT Mumbai, and she's a well-known scientist as far as pharmaceutical innovations are concerned, as well as the medical devices innovation. She asked the question that any class 3 device innovation commercialized from BETIC?
Yeah, several. So basically, we focus now mostly on the class 1 and class 2, which is diagnostic screening monitoring, or the surgical instruments, which kind of come between class 2 and class 3. Class 3, I just showed you that human knee was a very, very complex project. And that I was mentioning to you that it took a lot of time. We also have a few, I mentioned to you, implants from the BETIC VNIT Nagpur Center. They are commercialized 3D printed implants.
Hello.
At least yes, if not more. And our goal is to make more impact either through creating more success stories so more people get into the whole game, but also to make sure that prevention is better than cure situation. So both from this point of view, we do 60-30-10. 60% focus on diagnostics, monitoring and so on, screening and all that. 30% on surgical instruments, 10% projects on implants and class 3 devices and so on. But we do class 3 also.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Next question is from Professor T.M. Pramod, Principal, JSS College of Pharmacy, Mysore. He asks, should we start with Jugaad and go for systematic innovation?
Also, I saw one more question is that starting something like that. Yeah. So this Atal Incubation Center, which is Atal.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
I think we are losing Professor Ravi's voice.
Yeah, it may be a network issue at his end.
Yeah, maybe we'll give a moment.
Yeah, sure.
He'll join back.
Yeah, he got disconnected. Maybe he will join. Yeah, he's there.
Sir, he's
Professor
on
Ravi, you have to unmute yourself.
Sir, you are on
Ravi sir, you are not audible.
Quick answer is that both central government and state government both encourage. Yeah, should be audible now.
Yeah, it's audible.
So both central and state government are encouraging setting up the bioincubators or even general incubation centers. You just apply, look at the schemes, anywhere from 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakhs to 1 crore rupees you get. And that's a good starting point. But even that you don't need. You just need to have one person dedicated to saying, let us start doing, as you said, Jugaad. You can purchase basic 3D printers. Now you can get for 50,000 rupees. And basic raw materials. It doesn't take anything. For 1 lakh rupees, you can start off a center. 2 lakh rupees, you can start it off. So you just need someone who has done it. You get the person to tell you how to do that, and it's possible. At any point you want to get help locally, and Bangalore has so many. If you are starting in Mysore, I'm sure both state government, central government will be happy. So Bangalore has too many. So they want to now spread in other cities.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Dr. Satish Polshetty.
I lost because of the connection. Lost the previous questions on the chat box, but you can point out.
The next question is from Professor Satish Polshetty from Pune. What are the real challenges to make the medical devices commercially available in India?
Medical devices, sorry?
Commercially available in India.
Yeah. Which you're talking about our devices or?
Sir, what are the real challenges to make medical devices commercially available in India?
Okay, I got that. Got it. There are many challenges. We start from the doctors itself. When you go to a doctor and say, here is a made in India device at, let's say, half the price or one fourth the price, immediate reaction is it good quality? Is it reliable? Is it brand? The question immediately comes. So the biggest problem is establishing the credibility of the made in India devices. And what we do is we tell them there are four things what companies can do. One is do everything in a systematic way. So you saw the ISO 13485, all those documents. For every device, we have this thick file. Starting from the doctor visiting the first day, and doctor sign saying, I want this, to the last day, Stethoscope, Government of India license is documented, signed document. That is the first thing. Second thing is you publish and in good conferences, good journals, and so on. That is second thing. Even before that, make sure that you have what is called as KOLs, key opinion leaders. The doctors who are participating with you, either in the beginning or later, get the good people who are themselves thought leaders. If a top doctor says this device I've used, it is working fine, he presents in a conference, that credibility goes up like anything else. And final thing is when I tell the team, when I go and talk to doctors, and doctor says, what is the price of that? I tell them, do not tell the price. Okay. Let the doctor check out the features and quality and test it out and all that. And then once he finds that it is a better quality, better features, better reliability, everything else is good and comes from a reputed institute and so on, at least stamp of reputed institute, then he tells the price and he finds price is 1/5 or 1/10, it is like a beautiful. So it works. I'm not saying it is a guaranteed thing, but at least it gets some people in the thing. And once you have sold the first 10, 15, 20, 25, 100, then it starts rolling very fast. So Stethoscope initially took 1 year to sell, I think, the first 100, but in the last few months, they are now sold several hundreds. Okay, long answer, but I thought it was a very important question. So I thought I should answer that.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Mr. Akash Vyas. He's asking about what is the scope of metal casting from manufacturing perspective of biomedical implants and devices, and which metals are promising for the field?
I don't know who asked the question, but they should not ask me questions about metal casting because I spent my entire life on metal casting. I can talk for next 5 days on metal casting. So, but anyway, quick answer is that yes, some of the implants are use what's called as investment casting process. That is a good one. Having said that, metal casting is not a very reliable process as such. So most medical devices are either machined from very high quality metal blocks, or even done forging and things like that. Even if it's casting, then it has to be done. Some treatments have to be done. So let us not get there into too much detail. But Subburaj, he is a professor at SUTD Singapore. I know that. He asked a good question, so I think it's relevant. He said that what is the potential challenge in replicating the success with BETIC centers? And it's an important question. So tomorrow, supposing we set up a BETIC center in Mysore or maybe in your in let's say remote places or small towns, the issue is that initially the issue is always the confidence levels. You always need a champion, local champion, who believes that this is important, it has to be done, even if we fail. In fact, when some university or college comes in saying, we want a BETIC center in our university, the first question I ask is, who is your champion? And let the champion come and spend some time with us, a few days with us, and see what we are doing. And there is no restriction. He can see whatever we are doing, ask all kinds of questions to us. We are very open about, because we want the centers all over the country. So the single most important thing is a local champion. Wherever the local champion was there, full-time, dedicated, and pushing the boundaries, he doesn't mind going to the local government, the director, principal, odd hours, because he wants the center to be successful, create success stories. It has worked very well. Wherever there is a group of people, everyone saying, okay, maybe he's doing or she is doing, it doesn't work. I believe multiple champions. I say that you need to have 2-3 champions, one clinical champion, one engineering champion, one management champion, overall champion, of course. And we must do, even if it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years, doesn't matter, we will do it and not give up. That is important.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. Take home message from your today's talk is collaboration, and you have to find the right problem and the solution for the end user. That is very important, I think. And we have to ask several questions before starting any research. That is what, who, what, when, why, where. All W questions we need to ask.
Correct.
So I am thankful to you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us. Thankful to Pramod sir for joining with us. Thankful to Dr. Vandana Patrawale ma'am for joining with us. Thankful to our own professor, Dr. Mayur Ergiri, who connected us to you through Professor Rohit Srivastava. Before closing the session, I request our faculty member, Dr. Rahul Maheshwari, to propose the vote of thanks. Dr. Rahul.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pete. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked really hard to make this PharmaTalk webinar happen. On behalf of PharmaTalk webinar series, I extend a really sincere vote of thanks to our today's speaker, Professor B. Ravi, IIT Bombay, who spared time from his busiest schedule to talk on medical devices, a booming sector in India. Sir, today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future assignments. We also thankful to you, sir, for providing the quiz as well. We are thankful to Professor Rohit Srivastav, Professor and Head, Biomedical Engineering, IITB, who really helped us to connect with Professor Ravi. With deep sense of appreciation, I would like to thank over 1,100 participants from academia and industry live on board with us on Zoom and YouTube platform. I extend my sincere thanks to our Honorable Chancellor, Sri Ambrish Bhai Patel, for embedding an excellent vision to NMIMS. I wish to put on record my gratitude to Honorable VC, Dr. Ramesh Bhatt, Honorable Pro VC, Dr. Sharad Maheshkar, and Dr. Shubhajyoti Ray, SVKM's NMIMS University. I further extend my thanks to our registrar, Dr. Meena Chintamanani, for her valuable support. I'm very much thankful to Professor R.S. Gold, Director, SVKM's Pharma Institutions, and Director, Shirpur Campus, for his visionary leadership. I further thanks to Dr. Ravi Kiran, Deputy Director, Hyderabad Campus, for being always supporting. I also take opportunity to thank Dr. Bala Prabhakar, Dean SPP SPTM Mumbai, for always encouraging us. I am thankful to Dr. Ashwini Deshpande, Associate Dean SPTM Shirpur Campus. I extend my thanks to Dr. Mayur Yeragiri for his generous help. I like to express my deep gratitude to Dr. Anil Pethe, Associate Dean SPTM Hyderabad, who always motivating us. Last but not least, I thank Dr. Lakshman Puli, Dr. Santosh Yele, and Dr. Kapil Kumar as an organizing member PharmaTalk webinar series. Thank you once again to everyone present on board. Over to you, Dr. Pethe.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul. Finally, before closing, a reminder to complete online feedback form. The link for feedback form is in your chat box. In 24 hours, we provide you the online quiz link. Clearing this quiz will earn your participation certificate for this talk. And we are really thankful to Professor Ravi for providing ready quiz for us. Also, stay tuned for our next PharmaTalk webinar. We will announce early next week. See you again. Until then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you all. Good night. Shubharatri.